Rocking with Flem and B Bather. What up, DH? What's up? What's up? What's up? We are live as always here in the lovely Nashville, Tennessee, in the 1912 studios. I'm your host, Reno Thompson, alongside D Flem, and we got Bather to be in the studios with us. But today we are in college basketball mode, and we got our good brother, our good friend. Mr. Curtis Davis. He's coming in. He's now a Flem. He's officially our men's basketball insider right now. You know, so all things knowledge. He's gonna give us everything we got on the hardwood floors, man. So again, welcome to the show, Curtis.
Hey, man, congrats. First off, man, thank you guys for having me again, and thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of the team. And like I said, this is goal week this week. We got the regular season out of the way. Doesn't mean anything if you don't win the conference championship. So that'll be about it.
Definitely, man. So real quick to y'all, tapping in real quick, do us a favor, make sure you hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. As always, stay tuned in with the boys at Uproar Radio Show. And also, we have a new group chat on Instagram. That's where we're going to be capturing all of those fan questions that you want to ask about anything TSU sports related in the future to become, right? So please tap into our Instagram group page, Uproar Radio Show. Today, we got a huge slate, man. We're going to talk OVC Player of the Year. We're going to talk OVC Coach of the Year. We're going to talk a little bit of what's to come from this OVC tournament as well, too, man. So, but first of all, I just want to tap into it right now. Top of the show, the team last week, what a closeout week they had, man. And we're going to kick this right to you, Curtis, man. You know, just what a closeout week it was, man. Your thoughts from the team and what they did. I mean, they definitely hit on what you said, defense. So you know, talk to us about it.
Oh, first off, it's not only impressive that they won the conference, but it's how they won it. Yeah. Not too many times you can go on the road, final 2 games of the year, and you need both wins to close out the conference. And you go out and you close out, and you close out in a strong fashion. Both games, they were great defensively. Were able to go up to SEMO and really put their stamp on that game early. Yeah. Then they went and did the same thing at UT Martin. Yeah, the defense was outstanding. And
it was.
Talked about Coach Smith lineage coming from Duke and how they played defense and how they were hard-nosed on the defensive end. And you saw that effort. And then you looked at Aaron and what he did both of those games. And I got to tip my hat to him. I'm now the second best number 30. That man went out there and he handled his business.
He did, man. You know, and for me, I was noticing it those last 2 games. The key for me was we kept forcing the teams to get in early foul trouble. And, you know, I'm sitting right here in the house. I'm just like, all right, now, especially because that SEMO game, I'm like, look here, we got them in foul trouble. We have to make this matter. You know, you can't have a game where their foul numbers are way higher than ours, and we still don't find a way to pull this off, right? So, I mean, they made good on it, and then obviously did the same against Martin. But Flem, you know, tell me, man, I know we were chatting with it, you know, all last week as well, too, man. I know you got some more insights to share with us, though.
Yeah, so, you know, the thing is that to finish the last 2 games on the road, SEMO and UT Martin, historically, that's given Tennessee State University problems, and winning those 2 games by an average of 17 points is really putting a stamp on this season, this 2025-2026 season. And then one of the things that stood out, we talked about fouls and things of that nature. I don't know if Coach K made a call in to the OVC, but Tennessee State just got some calls, you know, this year, or stuff didn't get called this year that historically were always called. So shout outs to Coach K, you know what I'm saying, for making the call. The reason why we could play so good defensively is because they wasn't blowing the whistle extreme. I mean, Nkrumah is historically reaching around people and getting tips and stealing the ball. Man, they would have called that foul as time. Normally that's a foul that's called pretty quick, and they let him have that, and that's great because that defense stole the ball and was able to play aggressive and physical when normally Tennessee State basketball can't play like that in the conference.
Yeah. So Curtis, I'm gonna open this back up, man. So two things for me. It was all last week. You had the win in which we won against SEMO, right? But then it even improved as you close out the season. Let's talk about, just a quick hint towards the end of the segment here at the end of the show. We're gonna really get into just all things OVC tournament, but just right now in this space, my question is, when you see how the team won, close out the last two games of the season, what does that really give you? What does that really tell you about what you expect from that team now that tournament play is in full force now?
Well, it tells me that they're focused, and they're focused on not only the offensive end but the defensive as well. The attention to detail on the coaching staff. You got to give them. You got to tip your hat to this coaching staff. The way they prepared both for both games. There were two different types of game plans for each game, but both of them involved not only putting pressure on the defensive end but also attacking on the offensive end. You saw this team, they just weren't sitting there launching threes. They were putting pressure on the rim. And once you put pressure on the rim, it allowed them to drive and kick, and then you had all those wide open threes. So I was just thoroughly impressed with how the game plan was put together and how the kids went out there and executed, because they came off of a very emotional win at Seymour, and then to come back. And I mean, they put their foot on UT Martin's neck, and they didn't go in there and win by 1-2 points. I mean, it was a 20-point victory. It was a very convincing victory.
And it was up to 30 at one point in time, wasn't it?
You gotta tip your hat to this team and how they finished, and that's a great sign going into the OVC tournament because you want to play the best now.
Yeah, Flem, I don't know if you saw this, the SEMO game. Our guys, definitely towards the end of the game, once the game was over with, like they had some words for their fans as well too, because they were chippy with us and those SEMO fans on the sideline right there, man. Again, I'm right here in the house and I'm watching. I'm like, y'all, leave them alone. Stay tapped in. But it worked out to where it didn't affect them to be so chippy. I think they held it in and saved it for when the clock struck zero. But as you're watching, there's well, same question for you, Flem. Your thoughts on now what you're gonna expect from this team as we step into OVC tournament play, because we gotta, as number one seed, we gotta win too.
Well, going back to the SEMO game, which was Thursday night, SEMO packed the house for that game. They got the message out to their surrounding areas and had 3,900 people in the stands for that game. So you could hear the home field so-called advantage, and that's what you're speaking about, the chippiness, because they were barking, and there was a lot of students there. They had a student event for that game where if you came to the game, they gave you a pizza, all right, a free whole pizza. And then when after the game, they gave you an ice cream voucher. So shouts out to SEMO trying to get people in the stand. Somebody needs to pay attention to that. But moving forward, if you want some people in the stands, incentives, great, yeah, right. For students, and student athletes, people will show up. But even with that in UT Martin, the crowd wasn't as big. But at that point in time, there was a decent TSU following. Where when they panned into the stands, you saw people there in blue and white, and so they panned into our crowd as well. The thing that we're going to talk about what happened last week, but of course we're going to talk about what's needed this week. Is that people need to make that 2-hour trip to Evansville. All right.
Yeah.
People need to make that 2-hour trip to Evansville because Evansville is a hop, skip, and a jump from Nashville, and make the house ruckus for the Tigers, right? We really got a chance to go back to the tournament. This team needs to get the support. Hopefully they can get a pep band together. Come on, Tennessee State University. Let's get the pep band there. And let's get some folks to go up, 24 and make that turn north. You know what I'm saying? When you get close to you in Clarksville and head to Evansville, Indiana, and make it a big blue country up there this weekend.
Yeah, man, I like it, man. My thoughts are, I think we're all in line on this, man. I said it for me. My key was, I wanted us to always be in attack mode and be aggressive. I didn't want us to ever get into a situation where, as a team, you get to shooting long threes. Well, not even long threes, just long twos. And stay at it, and that's the testament to why SEMO and UT Martin got in foul trouble. Like we locked in there, man, and I think SEMO threw a couple punches early that we responded to, and it was good to go from that point on. And then obviously we gave UT Martin the knockout punch and just kept pushing and kept pushing. So I mean, it's for me like that's what I wanted to see right there. And I'm like, that's winning basketball in tournament play. It is the folks who can get to the rim and make people foul is how you win in tournament play,
Hey,
man. Like I don't know nothing about the last time I saw someone shoot the lights out like that I can remember. I felt like was probably like the Mike Dunleavy, Jay Will, Duke years. I felt like when they just flat out just was shooting threes from everywhere. I could be wrong. It might have been a Sooner team that done that, but it's just you gotta play. To my opinion, in tournament play, you still gotta go old school inside out in a lot of ways.
but check this out. They're talking about that SEMO game. Most of us watch that game on ESPN Plus.
Hmm.
And I'm a former color announcer with ESPN Plus, and I know what you're supposed to do during broadcast. They use the home teams, local talent to cover the game, but they talk about specifically being unbiased during the
Hmm.
game, right? You have to call the game as if you have no connection to your home
Hmm.
school. And what stood out in that SEMO game was how flagrant their announcers
Anywhere.
were
Uh-huh.
for
Uh-huh.
SEMO.
Uh-huh.
It got to the where they got facetious and they were being sarcastic. Tennessee State shot 36 for 42 in that
Yeah.
game, right? At
Yeah.
the free throw line.
Hmm.
42 free throws. And the coach whined about it after the game. The
Hmm.
announcers talked about it during the game, which is against the protocol. But like
Yeah.
you said, we drove the ball into the paint because we have three ball handlers, three people who can get to the
Hmm.
rim, create their own shots, and we applied pressure to SEMO all night long. We
Yeah.
always got a foot in the paint, which that's what you want to do with with a Duke style type offense that Coach Smith is running. They want to touch the paint, get to the paint, and then if it's not there, go all the way. If not, kick it out for the three. But
Yeah.
we had to say something about SEMO and their announcers. That wasn't cool, man. That's not how that game should have
They
been
did.
covered.
I noticed it too, man. He threw a couple shots, and I remember the one line specifically where he said, "Well, I guess it's another foul on SEMO. I guess TSU is going to be shooting some more free throws." He said that like
Hmm.
twice. I guess TSU is about to
Yeah,
shoot some more free throws again. So he
yeah.
was definitely, it's a hard thing to do, and I think more than likely ESPN is just. I mean, what can you do? Because at the end of the day, like you need someone to broadcast. So it's like ESPN doesn't have the. They're not going to place. They're not going to spend the money to
Nah, that's a
send.
Cal thing.
You
That's a
know.
Cal thing. Cal got to send that letter out. Usually, like he used to send it to us when we was talking
Oh,
about Big Blue. Yeah, yeah. So somebody needs to send the letter. Well, that season is over with. Well,
yeah,
now SEMO play this weekend. I mean, they got a chance,
yeah,
but I mean, our home schedule's over with, so it does
yeah.
nothing for the announcers. But yeah,
Hmm.
that got to come from up top. That got to come from Brentwood on that one. That wasn't
I
cool.
didn't.
That game was a good
Yeah,
ball. That was a good ball game, and they kind of, you know, made it bitter because they were unhappy with what was going on with the game.
yeah, man. Like I said, we're gonna keep this thing growing. Like so, this next segment, I really want to get into what I've designed as to be three stories. This first story is, the team winning, regular season conference championship, man. So, um, I gotta go to our last conference champion on this, man. So, Curtis, man, tell me, um, you know, when we're thinking about this conference championship, right, and the shift that this conference has made from your time to now, right? And the teams that were there when you were there and the teams that are not there, right? Um, I think you mentioned this, or maybe it was Los last week about just the importance of us being the staple and to begin to we're here in this conference. So it's like we're gonna have to show like it is our conference.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing with this is that this is championship week, and we got to show up and be champions.
Yeah.
It's tough when we're kind of the old heads, and that's how you got to look at it. We're the old heads in the conference. We've been here the longest. We got the most history in this conference, and we have to demand respect. But at the same time, we got to give them something to respect, and we did that this year. This is going to be a very tricky week, and reason I say that is that you got a team that hasn't won a conference title in a very long time, who's now going to be getting a lot of adulation. You're going to get a lot of pats on the back. You're going to be getting a lot of praise right now. How are you going to handle that going into the tournament? We'll get into it also a little later. Now you got the Coach of the Year and you got the OVC Player of the Year. How are you going to handle those type of praises going into the tournament? Because now it puts a different type of spotlight on your back. Not only are you the number one seed, but you got your coach and your player got the two biggest prizes in the conference. So that's going to put another target on your back. So you have to make sure that you're ready. And I know things have changed, and I don't know if the guys are still in board on the 5th floor, but you're hoping they're not being 5th floor boys this week because a lot of attention that's going to be trying to get to that floor this week. So the guys got to remain focused, and the guys got to keep their head level and know that we got a purpose this week, and that is to become OVC champions again.
Yeah. Flem, I want to switch this question just a little bit for you because, again, our last time I won the conference championship, that was your freshman year, I believe, at State?
Actually, no.
Just before?
Right before, 1 year before.
Oh, 1 year before. Okay.
I came in 95.
That's right. All right. So, but maybe you could still put some light on this, right? So, tell me what you hope that the student base is doing or feeling, with this, with a team that's a champion, especially in a major sport, right? We're not talking about a non-revenue sport. We're talking about a major sport right here, man. So, what are your hopes that this student base up there is currently doing or feeling or whatever it is?
Yeah, I hope everybody is getting fired up. Are we here? Oh, okay. A lot of things. Can y'all hear me? It seems I just blanking out. Okay, cool. That the pride on the campus is not what it used to be because a lot of things are not shared with the students, and they're really not connected with what's going on. It's a handful of folks that are connected. That's why we do the things we do. So hopefully, they host some type of pep rally or host some type of student gathering to get the team out. There's been some communications on the alumni side about the send off and things of that nature, but hopefully that they're getting the same recognition and people are getting fired up on campus for the opportunity, and that's going to come from the athletic department and student affairs and that crew. The band and things of that nature are going to have to chime in and not act like they don't know what's going on or make it seem like it's no big deal. This is a big deal. This is a big deal for Tennessee State University. So let's hope everybody feels the same way we feel, how that team feels, how those the students and the student athletes and their parents feel, and the true Tiger fans, how we feel. We feel excited about this. Hopefully everybody get excited for it, and all hands will be on deck to send this team off, and more importantly, follow the team to Evansville.
Definitely. I'm going to speak from the lens of I was a kid, obviously at this time, but I can remember asking my parents, like I'm trying to, Mom, Dad, hey, we got to go down to Municipal Auditorium. I got to see these boys playing the game, right? Like I'm begging my parents, and fortunate, they allowed me to step away midweek to go catch a game, right? And then we eventually got to catch the tournament championship game, the one that the guys that you all pulled off, Curtis. But I'm hopeful that it's still some of that somewhere in Nashville where you got some kids that were invested enough to where it's like, hey, Mom, Dad, let's find some time to make this, as Flem just said, this 2-hour drive, man. It's quick. It's straight up, then it's right. That's about all it is right there, man. So I'm hopeful for it, man. Keeping this thing rolling.
And it's a casino up there too. It's a casino up there, all right?
Okay.
So so after the 7:00 game, we can all gather at the casino. You know what I mean?
Make sure you put a disclaimer on that for the adults. For the adults.
For the adults. For the
Yes.
adults, right? Because that championship game is a late game on Saturday. I mean, it's an 8 o'clock game, so there's a lot. So it's a couple of little things to do in Evansville. It's not a lot, but when we're coming to support the Tigers.
Yeah, definitely, man. So as I said, keep this thing rolling, man. News drop of our guy. According to you, Curtis, the new the best number 30, Nkrumah, OVC Player of the Year this year, man. Honestly, like I wasn't sure if he was going to get it, but you tell me, Curtis. Like, I mean, from what you saw this year, did you feel like he should be like one of the finalists, or was it more so just maybe just his last week of a run that just really put it on for the voters that they said like, yeah, this guy deserves it?
No, if you look at his whole body of work in the OVC, he's OVC Player of the Year, hands down. He not only comes and play every night on the offensive end, is going to give you close to 20 a night. He's going to guard your best player on the perimeter on the other end. So he's a two-way player. You have to acknowledge what he did. And you also have to acknowledge where TSU was last year compared to where they were this year. And he's a big reason why this team is where they are right now. Then at the same time, he's going to give you, I think he's like second on the team, second or third on the team in assists. So he's going to give you 3 or 4 assists a game.
Yeah.
He's a all-around player, and he deserved the accolades that he gets. So it's not a surprise to me. Did he put together a great last 2 weeks? Yes, he did. But guess what? Those 2 weeks determined if TSU was going to be the champion of the OVC or not. So you just got to tip your hat to him, because he did an outstanding job this year on both ends of the floor, and he proved himself to be the best player in the OVC this year.
He did, man. Flem, on to you, man. Like I said, Aaron Nkrumah, OVC Player of the Year. Like I said, this is our second one.
Yeah, Carlos won it 2 years in a row, in 92, 93, then 94, 95.
That's right. Because I thought, I wasn't sure if Rob Covington, he may have gotten close.
He may have won. I don't remember
close. Yeah.
That for sure. But I do know Carlos won it back to back, 94, 93, and 94.
Gotcha. But yeah, man, Flem, Aaron Nkrumah, your guy, the one that you've been saying these last few weeks, man, he did his thing, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, averaging 17, basically 18 points a game, basically 6 rebounds a game, basically 3 assists a game, and 3 steals a game. I mean, his defensive presence is just, you can't put value to it. So, the way he can control the basketball game is what makes us very dangerous as a team, because we can go through stretches where Harper's not making the basket, Harris, Petrie, and those guys, but Nkrumah can get the ball and get a ball screen and create a shot and create a basket, or he can create opportunity for his teammates, and then come right back when the ball is being put in for the other team and steal it. He's one of those guys where you feel him all over the court. You have to know where he is at all time, because he's just as dangerous as he is on offense. He's truly dangerous on defense with weak side help and on ball pressure. So, he deserved it. He has the number 1 team in the conference. They broke records with wins in the conference, and undoubtedly he's the leader of this team. Well deserved.
Yeah, and to add to that, when you talk about team wins, during all the times that our championship teams were there, we never won 20 games, and they're sitting there with 21 wins this year. So got to tip your hat to them.
Man, for me, it's this. Like I've said this, because this is give me 30 seconds to do this, y'all. As a Laker fan, I have an issue with how we have been structured, to where it's like, these last couple of years here, where it's like your best player isn't actually a two-way player. LeBron he's spotty these last couple of years in that way, and now you bring in Luka, and it's like he's definitely not a two-way player. And I'm a kind of a person where if you're my number 1 guy, All right. And I'm a person, we know, again, I grew up watching Jordan. He was a 2A player, you know, and I'm used to your best player being a 2A player. It's not even about Jordan. It is Jordan, Barkley, Olajuwon, Duncan, Shaq. I'm trying to think who else. Pat Ewing was that way. Reggie Miller. Like, I mean, these are guys that did not have liabilities. They might not have been like just the greatest of defenders or greatest offensively, but again, they were not liable, right? And that's what I love about Aaron, man, and the stuff that he's gonna be able to do, man. So I'm just looking forward to again taking care of business Friday night. Taking care of business Friday night. Let's do that and close it out again Saturday, and then let's get into this dance, man, and let's shake up some stuff, man. It's just let's this format that now that they're in, that's what I wanted to see, and I think that's what Los was talking about. Regardless of win or loss, it's what you're doing throughout the whole game, and we're playing complete games. It's like I didn't see a point. Correct me if I'm wrong. These last week, where I didn't see a point where it just looked like we're just playing bad basketball right now, and we just found a way just to dig ourselves out. It was like no, we were playing really good, all the way through, and I'm like, that's what matters to me.
And trust me, I'm a Laker fan too, and you can't be in your prime and be a cone. So
Yeah,
I'm with you on the defense. I've always prided myself in like you got to play defense, and I'm
yeah,
I'm definitely with you on that. And that goes back to Aaron, and that's why
hmm
I love watching him play because of the effort that he gives, and he leads by example. You don't see him doing a lot of yapping and talking and things of that nature during the game. Now, end of the game, he gonna talk that talk, but
yeah,
during the game, he's not one of those guys who's just chirping and chirping all day. He gets out and he plays hard, and he's an example, and he sets the tone
yeah.
for that team. I also like Dante. To be honest with you, he was a difference
Mm,
in the SEMO.
mm,
He was a true DC point guard. He
hmm
controlled the game. He also knew when it was his time to score, and he gave them timely buckets during
Yeah.
that game. And that's what I like about it. Like even on Saturday, Harper was great as
hmm
far as not only he came and contributed on the defensive end, but he hit some great um, mid-range shots that kind of open up his three-point package as well. So it was just good to see the team play like that. That's why you're glad to see them playing well going into the OVC tournament.
Yeah.
I don't think the 2 days off is going to during the tournament is gonna be a lot of rust that's going to be there. They'll be fresh.
hmm
Coach will give a great game plan for them this week. And the other big thing with it is that any lingering injuries that are going on right now, now you got a little couple of extra days to get
Yeah.
those knickknacks under control and get yourself ready for the tournament play.
Yeah. That is a good segue. Thank you for that, Curtis. Man, I appreciate that, man. So story number three, man. That's what I was gonna get into. It's as a number one seed, and Flem and I we were talking about this offline a couple days ago, where the mid majors are stretching out their brackets because their thought process is they want to hopefully get their best team in the tournament. They don't want
Exactly.
a potential low seeded team just to catch fire. you know, because I think the most extreme version of it is the Sun Belt Conference, where the 1 and 2 seed basically get like what's the equivalent of four buy games, and it's just like it's massive. So like it's a lot. So my question is for you, Flem. Curtis already responded. I mean, do you have any concerns with this layoff, or are you like, no, this is right on time?
No, I think they're used to playing on that Saturday, and then having a few days, and then playing Thursday.
hmm
So they'll have 1 or 2 days, extra, maybe 1 day extra because they play Friday. That's it. So that's basically in the flow of what they've been doing all season. The thing is, they get a chance to scout the teams that are on their side of the bracket. I think they're leaving out Thursday, so they'll check out the Thursday game and they have a chance to game plan. These teams are very familiar. They beat everybody, that's that's why they're in first place, or the first seed, but they can't take anyone for granted. So the time getting settled, on a 2-hour trip, getting in, get your, shots at the rim, and you get your calibration right for a new spot to play. Even though I think when they play University of Southern Indiana, I don't know if they play in the Ford Center or not, which is they played them a couple of times, which is a school that's in Evansville.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they played Evansville before, the Aces, but nevertheless, a lot of guys on this team hadn't been in that arena, so to just check
Yeah.
it out and get acclimated with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we're all agreeing on that for the most part. I mean, if there is, it's just I am a person where maybe an extra day might be too much, but I think with these kids, it shouldn't be. I think from what we've seen and and Flem, you talked about just their schedule has been, this last portion of the weeks here. Like it shouldn't be a problem. I think I don't anticipate rhythm being an issue from to that degree. So I mean it's only thing that and Curtis, maybe you can tell me on this, but I mean only time it may you got to really adjust is when like you're in that field of 64 and you're playing in those big arenas, and sometimes just like the depth of perception on the rim seems different. But again, outside of that, I don't see a situation where rhythm and shots shouldn't be falling. I think the game plan is going to continuously to attack, force those fouls, get to the charity stripe, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that game plan right there at all.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing with it is, and I think that this helps out, not more, they'll be fine this week. 'Cause like I said, they've had, 3 or 4 days off between games during the OVC. I think this format and the way they've structured the tournament now, it helps them going into the NCAA tournament. Because remember, usually, and it happened to us when we were playing as well during our championship run, you would win your conference title the week before all of the big conferences played their tournament. Now you would be off a whole week. Most of the time, you would take 2, 3 days off, and then practice wasn't as hard because you didn't know who you were playing. Everybody was patting you on the back, and you were getting all the adulation, and you just were not in the greatest of mindset going
Mhm.
into the actual tournament. This type of format kind of pushes it a little bit further down. So now when you get ready to go into the NCAA tournament, you're kind of firing on all cylinders now.
Yeah. That's definitely good. That's definitely good, man. And so I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So we're gonna keep this thing rolling, man. We also got some more to look into as we talk about some stories, man. But Coach Nolan Smith, Coach of the Year.
Yes, sir.
Year one Coach of the Year. Super super excited for him, and what he was able to do with, because I give him shouts out to this because day one, Nolan Smith came and spoke to all the alumni in Nashville, and he said, he like, look here, man, Coach Penny left me a great team. He really did. So I'm excited to coach these guys and find a way to go win the championship this year. So he believed that. He said that again. This is not. It wasn't on camera or anything like that, right? But he said this in front of all the national alumni. So he believed in what he had then. This was October before the season kicked off, man. So he believed in what he had then, and shouts out to him because it's a hard thing when coaches get new jobs and they come into a school and what do you see? Well, everyone says, "Give me time to get my guys in," right? And it's just like you got this here. And I've always had the thought process where if you're going to step into a new role, those are your guys from this point forward. So start finding a way to show why they're hiring you from that point on. Don't throw that year away as a wash because you don't have the guys that you wanted to select. If you felt like that and you couldn't do that, then you don't take the job. So that's just me. Just wanting to give my shout out to Coach Nolan Smith on that, man. But Curtis, for you, man, just again that says a lot to this team. You got the Player of the Year in the conference and the Coach of the Year in the conference, man. So that might be another first for I don't know if that's I
Oh,
imagine it's happening in the conference.
it actually happened. It's basically it's like history repeating itself.
Okay.
Same thing happened my freshman year. Coach Allen was coach of the year, and Carlos was Carlos was the player of the year. Monty was the freshman of the year. So we kind of came and snatched everything off the boards that year. So the biggest thing with it is first off, congratulations to Coach Nolan Smith on a great job he's done with the squad this year. We tip our hat to him, and we give him all the adulations that he's supposed to get, because it's hard to not only come into a new situation, but again, turn it around and make it a winning program. The other thing, when we talk about distractions, I know nobody wants to hear it, but it's just a reality. He's a hotbed coach now. Other people are going to want him to come to their program now. Stay focused and finish this job here. You know, you got to put all of those type of distractions aside. I'm not saying that people are after him right now, because I don't know that, and I'm not going to sit here and say that, but be realistic. There are going to be people who are going to be trying to tap in and get a great coach like that into their program. So we have to get away from those type of distractions and finish the job, and let's get to the tournament, and let's win a couple of rounds in the tournament as well. Something TSU has never done also is not only gotten to a tournament, but won a NCAA tournament game. So there's still a lot of work that can be done and will be done. And if you can start doing those things like that, you can make this a very, very, very special year.
Definitely. Flem, on to you, man. Coach Nolan Smith, Coach of the Year. You know, and as I, you know, set that up earlier, just on what he did in front of the Nashville community with the alumni base here, man, and what, you know, he made it clear that, you know, he wanted to coach these group of guys, and that's ultimately why he wanted this job, man. So, you know, again, shout out to him on that. But, you know, your thoughts with Coach Nolan and the job he's done from, you know, starting off the season to closing out the season.
Yeah, you know, you got to give him a shout out. You know, he did a phenomenal job with a very veteran group that was left by Coach Penny Collins. Coach had really thought, you know, we did basically the last interview with Coach Collins at the Deserve to Win event, his basketball tournament. Then a couple of days later, the news was out that he was going to Memphis to take a professional coach. But he was talking then how special he thought this team was. And then, of course, Coach Smith came in and was able to communicate and gain the trust of kids who didn't know him, and he didn't recruit. So that's, you know, that's a hell of a coaching job. You know, part of that defense that we keep talking about is how well they communicate on defense, how they communicate well, and that's a testament to coaching. That's a testament to Coach Smith. The weak parts of Coach Collins' past teams were two things that he made an advantage. Um, they protected the basketball at a much higher clip than they've ever done in the last recent years. You know, Tennessee State was in the bottom of Division 1 when it came to assist to turnover ratio. You know, that's been the trend the last 3 or 4 years, and now they lead the conference in that same ratio. So that's coaching. That's Coach Smith and what he taught. They valued the basketball much different than they did in the past, and they stole the basketball and communicated very well. They became a very good, not even, you know, a great defensive team, and that's a testament to Coach Smith and his staff.
Yeah, Curtis, tell me this. You know, like you said, now we got this rest time before, you know, TSU plays their first game. What are some things that you believe a coach should do as a number one seed to keep their guys, you know, locked in, you know, on pace, right? You know, still moving forward. What are some things you think a coach should be doing?
First, you got to keep that intensity there. I'm sure they had Sunday off, but Monday and Tuesday practice should have been very hard. No game planning. Let's get up and down. Let's be physical with each other. Let's keep that intensity going into the week. You definitely don't want to get anybody hurt, but you want to keep that intensity there, because when the other two teams have played two games in a row, they're in their rhythm. And now you got a team that could come in that's hot, and you got to make sure you're at that peak level once you get into the tournament. So those first two practices this week should be hard. I don't know if anything has changed. I know usually they have a banquet the night before the tournament starts. So I don't know if they did that this week or not. But the other thing with it is once you get there and you get on site, you need to lock in. You got to stay to yourselves. Not saying you can't, talk to your girlfriend and talk to your parents and this, that, and the other, but you guys have to lock in. It's got to be you against the world. You can't let too much outside noise get into that locker room right now. And you also not only heighten expectations, but tamper expectations at the same time. You can't have guys going in saying, oh, I want to make the all tournament team, this, that, and the other. But you got to heighten expectations. Is we are here to win this tournament. We're the best team here, and we should be going home, cutting down the nets at the end of the week.
I agree, man. It's basketball doesn't have it to the degree that football does, obviously in college, right? Because that layoff from a conference championship game to a now as the NCAA playoff structure is, like they get almost a month off. They getting a whole, I think it's right like 18 days, 18 days off, man. So before that first round is played, man. So it's a lot. And even then it still breaks in between there as the rounds evolve for those guys, man. So for me, my thing is, as you said, man, it's the longer you have, the harder it is as a coach to keep guys, locked in. And, I don't know if there is a secret sauce that, every coach has. It sounds just like from what you're telling me that, you just got to understand where your team is. And guys by this time have to know, like, this is how we operate and just to stay right there, man. There's nothing extra to do. I think the old adage, the hay's in the barn, to some degree, like this is who we are, man. Like, let's making sure that we're crossing all the stuff we got to cross, but it is a lot of just staying in tune.
I recommend getting off campus as quickly as possible. Getting your guys away so you can lock the guys in and let them know it's the 15 guys here in the coaching staff. That's it. We're going to be here, and this is all we got. And we have to make sure that we are all locked in. And we have to also make sure everybody's locked in on what the game plan is. We can't be having any mental lapses right now. Yeah. These games in the tournament are going to come down to 1 or 2 possessions. A turnover at 5 minutes into the game could be something that's a difference at the end of the game. And you got to make sure your guys are locked in and making sure that they understand why we're here and what the ultimate goal is.
Yeah. And it sounds like to me, you're telling me about situations, right? So, there's a situation where, situational basketball, right? So it's like in this situation, someone's pressing on us, and we've been practicing this thing all year long. Well, you know what? Don't look for the timeout on this situation. I'm expecting for y'all to understand, like, we're going to have to fight through this, right? Or vice versa. If we're in situations where we got to know what's our out of bounds play, if it's 4 minutes left to go in the first half and we're here and, paying attention to the actual game itself, like what is the story of the game starting to play out to look like? And I think coaches that have been able to speak like that to their teams to really dial in, again, that's the dial in part that I believe that you're speaking to. It is that, you have your plays and people know their plays. It's understanding the situation and what did we discuss that we're trying to do in these situations throughout the game, and folks understanding and knowing that to be able to move faster.
Yeah. This is when coaches make their money, is during this time of year here, because you would have seen every set that all these teams will run. But now when we get to the tournament, they're going to have wrinkles off of those sets that you haven't seen before. So coaches are going to have to make in-game adjustments that it's going to tell you whether you're going to win this game or win this conference championship or not. So that's where I talk about you have to be dialed in. It can't just be the players, the coaches, and the decisions that they make in a game, whether it's a substitution, whether it's seeing something that the team hasn't done all year, but now they are adding a new wrinkle to it, can make a difference if you can nullify those things and make sure your team is locked in and you can make all those adjustments.
Definitely, man. Flem, okay. It looked like you had to step away real quick here, so we'll keep it in, man. So my this next step I really want to get into is leading us towards there. It's about finishing the job, right? It is a great thing for this team to complete something that this university hasn't done in quite some time, right? But this thing is about the dance, and we want to go dancing, man.
Yes, sir.
And OVC is not giving out at-large bids.
Yep.
It is you win the tournament. Like, that is the at-large bid. There is no, I won my conference regular season, but I lost in the semifinals, right? Or I lost in the championship game. I think anything short of us, now if we were like a ranked team right now, like we were probably like a top 15, top 20 ranked team, then okay, you get to the conference championship game and you lose, okay, they'll probably slide you in there somewhere around like 11, 12 seed, something like that, maybe, right? But for me, it's just like, we got this shot, man. It's about finishing the job,
Yeah, definitely. We got to put our stamp on this year. Like I say, it's great. You can say we're the conference champion, but I'll be honest with you. We won the conference championship my junior year in 94, 95. You don't see a banner up there for that. They only put banners up when you win conference tournament and you go to the NCAA tournament. So,
you know what?
If you look up there, you don't see any regular season banners. You gotta win the tournament in order to get a banner put up there. So you're not gonna be remembered for winning the regular season. It's great to talk about. It's great to have it. Because, matter of fact, a funny story that we're telling is we redid our championship rings. We only did it for our first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, because those were the years that we won conference tournament. We got a pendant for the regular season at the end of the day. So they always call it the championship. You gotta win the conference championship in order to get that banner and get that ring. So the guys gotta finish this job. They got all the tools. They got the personnel. They got the coaching. Like I say, it's on a 2-hour drive, so we should have a rabid fan base that is there to support this team. And I think these guys can finish the job. The biggest thing with it is just staying focused during this run, during this week. And I think the guys are going to have their heads on straight. They know what the mission is. They know what they have to do in order to achieve it. And they're going to finish this thing strong this week.
Yeah, man. The final thing is, as what we've been trying to hit on here is those coaching chess moves, man. I believe Nolan is in a really good, him and that staff are in a good space. And those last two games, watching those last two games from end to end, and when I'm saying I'm watching, I'm looking at every time the camera is looking at like another player or a coach or something like that. Like, I'm literally looking at all of that stuff. And just they really look like they're just all in the right space. So I mean, those chess moves are gonna, I'm pushing for these guys. Again, this is from me to you. Again, I'm not the Curtis is our insider on this. He has all the knowledge, but I can just tell you from my perspective on it is that it is continuing to be dialed in on this stuff, man. We got a shot to really get inside this dance and do some stuff. And if it's one thing that we've noticed in the NCAA tournament the last, I would say 10 years, and that's a huge one. You can go back 5 years. Like, folks are getting in here and doing damage, from these mid majors.
Yep.
It is if you're in rhythm and you can get this thing going in the first half, right? You got, and I think for us, our recipe to win is also good as well too. It is. We talked about this point guard, is gonna out, and I'm only reciting what I remember being said when I was watching it as a kid. Dick Vitale and all of those guys right there. They say like point guard play in the tournament is the most important thing because things move fast, and you need a point guard that can get you good shots when you're not getting good shots. And like that right there, you need that old school style of a guy to get you that. And so I'm like, we have that. We definitely have that. So I'm looking forward to seeing this, in these situations, because again, it's going to get like that eventually. It really is, and we're not going to run from it.
You got to understand, and what makes this team special. And you look at this coaching staff. You got a point guard who is a coach now, and he understands what you're talking about in the scenarios that we're in. And I'm probably the hardest person he's on is Dante Harris, because that's his point guard, and he played that position, and he understands what it takes in order to win in those moments. And I think we have a great point guard that can settle us down, get us into our offense, but also when things are getting rough and you need somebody besides Aaron to go out there and get you a bucket, he can go off the bounce and get you a bucket. He has a great mid-range game. He can get to the cup, but he also, he's leading the team in assists, so he can also get your bigs opportunity to get a layup so they can get themselves going. So the biggest thing with it is and you're saying in the lower third right now, we got to finish the job this week. Matter of fact, you don't get paid until you finish this job.
Yeah, man.
It's the conference championship.
It is, man. Deal, man. We're gonna keep this thing rolling, man, as we step into this. This step ladder pressure, and I'll set this up as a way to really explain again, as we talked about in the beginning of this show, about the top seeds to the semis, the underdogs that arrive battle tested, and how that could be a hindrance to a team that's set for for a couple days, 3-4 days, right? It can be, because they might have been struggling, and they catch confidence, and they might have been the lower seed, and hence this step ladder approach, right? So share with me, let's find a way to get deeper into this, right? On not getting caught up in that trap of being a number one seed, and understanding that from the practice point of it to the game point of it, man. So give me some knowledge on that.
I mean, think about all the distractions that can go on this week. You just won OVC championship. You got people showering you with praise. People want to be around you. The attention that they're getting from females now is a little different. Let's just be honest about that. How do you handle that? Also, at the same time, these are scenarios you have to look at. You got guys who caught up in NIL. How is that affecting things right now? If they're getting calls from other teams and things of that nature in order to transfer, how do you handle that and stay focused? Same thing on the coaching end with Coach Smith. I'm sure his name is in a lot of offices and AD's mouths right now, as far as trying to bring someone in to change their program around. How are those things being handled? You're getting accolades from the OVC. We got the player of the year. We got the coach of the year. How are you handling all of that? Can you put everything in perspective and be like, we're one band, one sound?
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to finish this job? These guys can make history here. They can do something that not even our championship teams did. They can go in as a number one seed, and probably, if they do what they're supposed to do, probably have the highest seed of any TSU team going into the NCAA tournament. And they have a chance to win a round or two. And I'm if they can stay focused and understand what the task at hand here, and put all the noise that's on the outside, on social media, the noise that's on campus, noise that's coming from programs like this here, and they can put that to the side and focus on the task at hand, I see this team going very far here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, man, it should be a good one, and that's why I set this thing up, with this step ladder, pressure that come, is because the more time you have off, because and we've seen this in sports, all around in sports, where the more time you have off, and you get, as they say, fat from the attaboys and the pats on the back, and Like this is just us saying to our school, can't do it, and we don't believe you. We don't believe you're doing it, but we're believing that we're preaching to the choir on this, regardless. But it's like we're still gonna say it's like this is something that we've seen in sports. So it is a keep that stuff outside. That was a nice award. We'll celebrate that award when we have no more games to play this year.
Yep.
And that goes for the regular season win championship. That goes for the individual awards people get. I saw some other guys get OVC newcomers of the week. All that kind of stuff. Whatever. Man, this is you're playing one game at a time from this point on.
Yeah.
It is 1-0.
Yeah.
It is 1-0. Do not care about an award anymore until it's that gold ball at the end of the 64. With that plaque, not a gold ball, but the plaque, the long plaque.
Let's put it to you like this. Do you remember me holding up the trophy at end of my freshman year, or you remember me making you remember me making the all-tournament team? You remember me being a champion.
Yeah.
And that's what people remember. Mm-hmm. That's what these guys have to understand. Yeah, individual accolades come with the hard work that you put in, but if you obtain team goals, all the other stuff is going to come. And if you want to be remembered, people remember champions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that we finish this week. And we got the kids, we got the coaching staff, and we got the alumni behind this program. We're going to finish this job this week. We just got to stay focused, and we got to put everything in the order that they need to be in. And the first thing has got to be winning the conference championship at the end of this week.
Yeah. Is there, before we close out this segment, is there a matchup that you're like, I definitely want them, or is there a matchup where I don't care?
No, at this point you shouldn't care, because you go in thinking matchups, you're saying that we're weak in an area and this team can beat us, or this is an easier game for us, which is going to set yourselves up, because now you're not going to give that other team the praise that they should have. So the biggest thing with it is you got to have a next up mentality. Whoever we play next, that's who we play next. We got to believe we're the best team in this conference, and nobody can match up with us. We're physical when we need to. We got a finesse game when we need to. We can defend. We can run. However you want to play it, we can get out here and match up with anybody in the conference. I really see this coming back down again to the matchup from Saturday. It's going to be SEMO and us in the championship game. That's what I see move forward. But those are the two best teams in the conference. I think both of those teams are better than Morehead State. The other thing with it is both of those teams are very physical. That game that weekend was probably one of the most physical games I've seen in OVC in a very long time. And they did let them play. And that's why you had a lot of people at the charity strike, because a lot of people were going to the basket and there were a lot of physicality in that game. So in end of the week, and not trying to predict it, but I do see those being the two strongest teams, and I see those two teams matching up in the finals.
Yeah. Good deal, man. Well, look, Curtis, man, we're about to go ahead and get on up out of here, man. Like I said, we're about to hit up on the top of this hour. We're just actually over it. But, again, for me, today's show was about the celebration of, these guys completing a task, one of many tasks of the season that you want them to complete. So they did that. We also did some celebrating of player and coach, right? Aaron Nkrumah, OVC Player of the Year, and Coach Nolan Smith, Coach of the Year, man. So, again, congratulations to those guys, man, as always, man. And from this point on, you're hearing it from us at Uproar Radio, and then from our official insider again. It is 1-0 from this point on. It does not matter. You better respect every last opponent and stay tuned into the storyline of the game. All right. The game plan potentially is going to change. So, you coach you can always predict what you think it's going to look like at some point in time in the game, but it's not going like that. Adjust, again, knock on wood, the fouls you may not get as many of those fouls you got, right, to close out the season. Doesn't matter. You adjust, finish. that's the last thing I want to say. And this is a PS right here. There was a couple times, man, where we're going to the basket and we shot the ball like we were expecting a foul, and they really didn't foul, and you miss it. And I'm just like, that stuff right there can put you in a bind too. I'm like, every single time, I don't care about the foul or not, man. I need you to try to score. We need and ones anyways. Like, I need you shooting one free throw instead of two. So I mean, did you kind of notice that, or is that was just me
I
just
mean,
being picky?
you noticed it in the SEMO game. It got corrected in
Yeah.
the UT Martin game because, as you saw, they were going to the basket. They were finishing at the basket. They were finishing at the rim. You were doing the SEMO game because it was a little bit more physical. You saw more. They're trying to finish with layups. With UT Martin, they were trying to finish with a dunk. So you saw the intensity get picked up a little bit. So that's hopefully, and I believe that we'll carry that into the tournament because that can be a difference in the game where you can get an and one and you're getting 3 points on this possession, as in you coming down and you getting fouled and hopefully maybe being able to make both free throws. So as you say that, the guys are going to have to be able to get to the rim, but when they get to the rim, they got to make sure they finish strong.
They do. Well, again, from us to you all, that is Uproar Radio Show. As always, make sure you tap in with us, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, pull up to Uproar Radio. But most of all, this week, we need y'all to pull up to Evansville, Indiana. All right? Big Blue, we need you there.
Yes,
we need our folks. We need that Chicago alumni there. We need the St. Louis, Missouri alumni to pull up there. We need Clarksville. We need Nashville. Everybody that's within a drivable distance, pull up, put on for Big Blue. Myles, let's take us home, man.